Dan Heyman here, senior editor at Vicarious magazine, and with me today, along with you fine folks, of course, is this. This is the all-new 2025 Toyota 4Runner, and boy, did this vehicle need a refresh. It hasn't really been changed for like 15 years, and now there's been a lot of change. First of all, it's offered as either a 2 or a 3-row SUV. That's fine. 4x4 or 4-wheel drive only. The US gets a 2-wheel drive version. We do not. But the big news is that it's offered with 2 powertrains. A turbocharged 2.4-liter 4-cylinder, good for 278 horsepower and 317, that's 317 pound-feet of torque, as well as a hybrid version of that powertrain with 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. Both engines get an 8-speed automatic transmission. That is a huge step up. They used to have a 5-speed auto. This vehicle, as recently as 2023 or maybe even 2024, had a 5-speed automatic transmission. Now they've changed all that. Styling wise, they've given it some kind of fender flares here. These are body colored because this is a limited trim. If you get one of the off-road trims like the Trail Hunter, which is new, or the TRD Pro, they come in contrast colors. You have the new headlight shapes, new wheels. You've got that wicked back window there, which is kind of wraps around the top there. I think they call it a rollover window or whatever. It is really cool. It's kind of a mix of the original and the second gen 4Runner. Very nice. New colors are available. And you've got an interior, can be had in cloth, in Softex, synthetic leather, and in real leather as well. The 2025 4Runner starts at about $54,000 in Canada for the SR5 entry level, and that goes all the way up to $83 grand for the more off-road spec Trail Hunter version. About the Trail Hunter, that one there is new for 2025. It gives you some special suspension. It's basically an overlanding vehicle from the factory. We're going to give that a try today as well. Can't wait to do that. So let's get to it. Okay, so here we are now at the wheel of the 2025 4Runner, the new 2025 4Runner. We are in the TRD Sport version here. That is the second from the bottom, I should say, just one above SR5. This, though, is a highway environment. This is the kind of place where the 4Runner has never really been great as on-road, smooth road vehicle, kind of like a Jeep Wrangler that way, which makes sense because these are the two main competitors in that segment, in this segment I should say. Here on the highway, it's much better than it used to be, much better. It is a 2.4-liter turbo engine, this one. This is not the iForce Max, so you've still got some punch, over 300 pound-feet of torque. You've got some good punch there, but you can really hear it. They still haven't really refined the noise of this power plant, and maybe that's what they wanted. Maybe 400 people like hearing that growl ahead of them. But even with a turbocharger on it, which tends to quiet things down a little bit, it still sounds pretty robust. But it's very smooth out here on this very smooth. In comparison, it's not a Lexus, it's not a BMW 5 Series or whatever, or 7 Series, but in comparison to the old 4Runner, car I've driven many times in many different configurations over the years, this is a darn sight better. The big difference that I'm feeling here is you don't get that shaking through the steering wheel you used to get on the 4Runner. Even if you didn't have big knobby off-road tires on your older 4Runner, you still felt that kind of, like, say you had a limited version, which was supposed to be the more on-road version. Even then, you still felt something through the wheel. I don't necessarily totally mind that. I like feeling the road through the wheel, but if it gets too much, now it starts to feel a little bit on the cheap side, a little bit on the, I don't know, what's the best word, a little bit on the agricultural side, we'll say, but not here. Now, smooth. If you're not under heavy acceleration, it's quite quiet. It's definitely more slippery than it used to be, so there's not as much wind noise happening out here on the highway. That's pretty good. People were buying 4Runners in droves even before this new refinement that it's now received. I can only imagine what's going to happen when people take test drives on the roads in and around, hello, as I say hello to one of my colleagues here, around your dealership in the city. Imagine how they're going to feel now with how smooth this has now become. Now, this is not the TRD Pro version. This isn't the Trail Hunter version with all its heavy kind of locking differentials and overlanding gear and all that. So that might change a little bit. But this right now, first impressions of the Land Cruiser, oops, Freudian slip there, of the 4Runner on a smooth everyday road like this are pretty good. And then you take into account all the other stuff they've done. You know, standard 6-speaker audio, upgradable to 14-speaker audio, digital gauge cluster to 2 sizes depending on which trim. Standard, of course, digital infotainment here. Again, 2 sizes depending on trim, 8 inches or 14 inches there. Apple CarPlay, which is wireless charging, some softer touch materials through here, although it's still pretty, you know, it's still pretty plasticky, but again, that's probably okay. They've you can see how they've taken refinement up to the next level. Not something you ever thought they'd have to do on the 4Runner is take refinement up, but why not do it? Why not do it? You still leave the blocky knobs here for your climate controls. You still leave the kind of chunky dash inserts here and the big like kind of rhombus-like climate vents here and so on. You leave all that, but you soften some things up a little bit, just the right things. The things that you don't need to be all blocky and hard to give an impression of kind of a chunky, robust interior. And I like that. I am surprised. I mean, it's not a Highlander out here, but it's pretty good. Okay, so that was the on-road portion in the TRD Sport. Now we are off-road in the Trail Hunter version. This is the one made for like overlanding right from the factory kind of thing. So it's got old man emo shocks that are tuned to handle bumps and stuff like that while under load, say the load of a overlanding package, for example. These shocks are tuned to handle that extra weight. And it's great in these conditions. We're on a pretty rough road here. I'll turn the camera around in just a sec to show you what kind of stuff we're dealing with. But this thing just clambers over this no problem. We're going over uneven terrain. We're going over elephant tracks. We're going over some split mute stuff. So it's really, really quite robust through here, this Trail Hunter version. If you don't want the overlanding stuff, but you want to do off-roading, you've got the TRD Pro for that. That's got a different suspension system. That has Fox dampers on it that are manually adjustable. That's more for kind of faster off-roading, sand, and so on, whereas this one here is a little more about slow off-roading. Both of them come standard with the more powerful hybrid engine, the iForce Max, 465 pound-feet of torque, still the 8-speed automatic transmission. Every 4Runner comes with that transmission. There used to be a manual version all those years ago, but of course no longer. And so you've got two kind of hardcore off-roading choices, and you've got softer core too. You've got the TRD off-road version, which doesn't give you the heavy-duty Fox dampers or the old man emu stuff, but still gives you some stuff as well. This one here, as well as the TRD Pro, they've got differently shaped bumpers, so you get better approach and departure angles in both the TRD Pro and the Trail Hunter. Other cool stuff the Trail Hunter gets, as well as the TRD Pro, rigid fog lights that can change color from white to yellow depending on the kind of conditions you're dealing with, and a front stabilizer bar disconnect, so you get that much more traction, it's that much more settled over rougher terrain as we're going on right now. That's both the TRD Pro and the Trail Hunter gets that. So speaking of that TRD Pro, well, they have one here too, and here it is. Now, this one here, yes, is made for slightly more kind of faster off-roading, which is what I'm doing here. It's got Fox dampers that have been developed to handle this kind of work, and they are manually adjustable by flipping a switch mounted on the damper, as you'll see here in the video. And so we're going over this. You've still got the disconnecting stabilizer bar that you have in the Trail Hunter, and you have the hybrid engine as your only choice as well here, just like the Trail Hunter. But this one's a little bit more of a performance off-roader, where as the Trail Hunter is a little bit more of kind of an overlanding off-roader. And of course, it's also got the forward-facing camera on it, forward and down, so you can kind of see what's coming over the next hill with the camera before your eyes do. You can be looking at nothing but the wild blue yonder above, but the camera's looking down, so it will tell you if there's a big pothole or something on the other side, or a drop, and so on. Nice to have that feature here. Both this and the Trail Hunter have that. And this thing's a lot of fun through here. Big, huge 33-inch tires that can just kind of munch their way through this kind of stuff. It's got a bunch of different drive modes here to play with. You hit the MTS button, you can go through them. You've got dirt, auto, sand, deep snow, all that kind of stuff. No sport mode, which I kind of find surprising. So we're gonna put it in dirt here, and yeah, so it kind of lets you play around with it a little bit more, which makes for a fun drive. Same bumper shape as the Trail Hunter, so you have the same departure and approach angles. It's got all that stuff too, so you can do slower off-roading in this one as well. It's just not as it's not made for overlanding as much as the Trail Hunter is made for. But this thing here is still so much fun as we go through some deeper sand here. You can just fly over these bumps, tons of suspension travel. You don't ever worry about bottoming out unless you're really hitting the jumps hard on this. But yeah, tons of fun here. Such a variety in these 4Runners. There are 8 trims, and they cover such a lot of ground, and so they should. I mean, this is a popular vehicle. They sell a ton of these in Canada and elsewhere, and people that buy these, they want choice. They want to be able to do off-roading, or they want to be able to have more of an everyday driver, and you have kind of the whole range of that with the 4Runner here if you just pick your spots wisely. So we finish our day here in the TRD off-road version of the 4Runner. This is probably, I would say, one of the top sellers of this, because it gives you a lot of the kind of niceties. You've got, in this version, I've got 14 speaker JBL audio. I've got a digital rear view mirror. I've got heated and cooled front seats made of this soft text leather material, but it's also got kind of some more off-roady stuff, and it's got like the nice big tires. It's also got a very cool removable JBL speaker there, which you can actually use as like a Bluetooth speaker when you get to wherever you're going. That's pretty cool. You can plug it in with USB-C and everything like that. So very, very neat. And this is kind of a great microcosm of what the 4Runner has become in its 6th generation. It's got 8 different trims in Canada, a huge variety of choices for intenders and current 4Runner owners alike, with stuff like the TRD Pro and Trail Hunter, kind of very off-road specific models, with the Limited, SR5, the more kind of entry-level, everyday, around-town models, the ultra-luxurious Platinum model, and this TRD off-road here. It's got all the stuff. The 4Runner still has the stuff that you've always liked, the big chunky knobs here, the sliding rear window, which you hit a button up here and you can open and close that rear window there. But now it's added nicely. It's like the big, huge display here, digital gauge cluster, the digital rear view mirror, all that kind of stuff, and so much more cultured when on smooth roads. That's a big takeaway for me. With that new 8-speed automatic transmission and these 2 pretty smooth turbocharged power plants, one turbocharged and hybrid, they've really refined this vehicle. They've upped the refinement. They really have, and you can get it for like 54 grand at base, which is not inexpensive by any means, but it's still very cool that you can do it. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to this short video, this quick look at the 2025 Toyota 4Runner. For Vicarious Magazine, I'm Senior Editor Dan Heyman. Have a look at our website, vicariousmag.com, for all your, SUV, performance car, motorcycle needs. Have a look at our new emotion section for answers to all of your most pertinent EV mobility and lifestyle questions. And check back on our YouTube channel for more videos coming soon. So thanks again for tuning into this video. We'll see you guys soon.